I'd already experienced the best part of Season of Discovery in my opinion once before, the Endgame. The gear progression, the hidden quest chains, and the new activities, it all made the journey feel worthwhile. But to experience it all again, I first had to make one final push, from level 50, where the worst phase was, to the max level of 60, because this is why I love Season of Discovery. With the remaining 10 levels right in front of me, I had to switch on my experience bar for the very last time. This is now done via the Rune Broker in Orgrimmar. Blizzard had already moved the NPC once before because the old one kept bugging out, and somehow this one was now broken too. I clicked it once, nothing. Twice, still nothing. Brilliant. Luckily for me, I've got two mages in my group. They have the portal to Undercity, so then I have to play ping pong around Azeroth, taking a lot of different portals and summons to get to an actual working Rune Broker. Not the best start so far. The reason I've gone back to the Sunken Temple, which I'm not too fond of, was now for the XP. We wasn't here for really anything other than that. Sure, some epics would be nice, but hopefully at level 60 I'd replace all of it anyway. Bosses melted and gave me just massive amounts of experience, so I was hoping I'd get a couple of levels out of this place. Surely I'm not the only one who sees someone playing the same class as them and immediately thinks, I have to beat you. Yeah, about that, the player that I had to beat was an undead Warlock who was sitting quite comfortably at the top of the DPS meter. I couldn't even see my own name on the board, and he didn't even budge. The boss then fell and I got an absolute massive amount of experience. With the loot also set to just need and greed, I wasn't expecting to get a single upgrade. All I could ask for though was just one token, simply one. And these are the Atal Ritual tokens. I already had the 2 set of armor you get from redeeming these tokens, I just needed a last one to complete the set. With one boss down, this wasn't looking likely. So after the boss kill, I inspected the Warlock to see what I'm working against, and yeah, there is a reason he is miles ahead of me. His gear is ridiculous, fully enchanted, loaded with consumables, and it looks like I had a real struggle on my hands. So then enter the Fostering Rot Slime. Now for a destruction warlock like myself, standing still and casting is where I really shine. So having a boss that's mechanic is to move really does hurt my DPS. But guess whose DPS it didn't hurt? Yeah, that Warlock. I checked his abilities and saw he was more of an affliction warlock, which is damage over time spells. I then made it my goal to try and beat him, only once. Once the boss fell, I hit need on the token, praying with my fingers and undead toes crossed. As I opened my bags, I got nothing again. The bosses just kept on coming and I kept on trying to catch him, often getting within touching distance of overtaking him on the damage. I'm talking losing a DPS race by just 10,000, which is literally 2 soulfires of mine. This made me think there was a slight chance to overtake him and show the true power of a fire warlock. But I was wrong. This guy slapped me on every single fight. I aspire to be as strong as that. Between bosses, I was basically on autopilot, needing every Atal Ritual token that dropped. They just kept on appearing, I just couldn't win the rolls. Then I saw one of the most coolest freaking weapons I've ever seen in Season of Discovery. It's a scythe with green fell wrapped all around it. If I could use polearms, I would walk around with this regardless of its stats. It looks insane. Before I knew it, we was at the last boss. I'd already leveled twice in this place, which was a really nice dent into the final push to 60. We just had to take on the Avatar of Hakkar, the last boss, which can be a difficult fight, which I know all too well. This group's damage combined with people just knowing the tactics and what to do, which mainly consisted of getting corrupted blood on you, run it into the tank, wait till it goes, run back out, rinse and repeat. We took down the Shade and saw what he had on his corpse, and I was sad. No more ritual icons, so my chance to get one had completely gone. However, there was 2 scalpulars that I could maybe try and nick, but no, none of them either. My luck was down rotten. But hold up, what's that sitting next to my soul shard? It's a token. I don't know when or where I won this, but it snuck its way into my bags. That is a nice little consolation prize, I must say. So all that's left to do was run out of the raid. Slight issue with that. There's a crap ton of elite dragons blocking the exit. So I did what any good player would do, and without anyone noticing, I pulled the pack with a cheeky little spell. Drag them into the raid, and sneak past them, leaving everybody to die. However, my conscience did get the better of me, so I turned around, and I'm not that evil, so I stood and fought too. We was victorious, and now we could walk through the halls to go and collect our loot. Never mind, this place is still full of nightmare dragons. This time, in close quarters, we get our arses handed to us and lose all of our buffs. However, this gave us a shorter run back to the entrance, meaning I can grab the last item I need to collect the free set of the Sunken Temple gear. and that should be a nice little power spike to tackle the rest of this leveling with. With the raid behind us, they set off with many adventurers to find a place where people could use my skills to help them out with their tasks. After riding on my trusty valiant steed across the plains of the Hillsbrad foothills, I arrived at the questing zone, the Hinterlands. I've not really done many quests lately at all, so it's going to be a nice turn of events to just slow down a little bit. But I also nearly do what I did on my hardcore character, and that's run straight into the dwarf town of the Airy Peak. But this time, I'm a little bit more switched on, and I realise and I make a sharp U-turn. Before visiting the coastal town here, I headed to Shadra Alor, where the withered bark trolls and spiders live. It's always spiders nearly killing me on this game, I swear. The reason that I popped here was to locate a troll, an exile. He tasked me with collecting Jamal's head from the Sunken Temple raid, and I bring it back to him for that sweet experience. And then, as the sun was setting, I needed to get some rest for a brand new day of adventuring. The sun rose on the hinterlands and I woke up next to that exile troll. He must like living here on this rock, because surely he would have left by now. The night sky had turned to a brighter morning. I then headed off across a lovely green zone. I arrive at Reventil's village, making sure to get the flight path so I never have to do as much running if I needed to come back in the future. Then I just went around accepting all the tasks from the locals here. While doing this, I eavesdropped on a conversation. Someone said, "Yo, still not doing it, sorry." Then they said, "Have you not got yourself a group?" Then I realised they're probably talking about the elite quests in this zone. So I say to him, "Yo, I'll come for the elite quests." And he says, "Nice." And to whisper someone. So I give them a whisper asking for an invite and I join their party as a last spot. That's a nice little result. I put on my sleeping bag to get myself a quick nap in and get that juicy, huge 3% experience buff. The place we've grouped up for is just around the corner. It's surrounded by vile branch trolls and elite dangerous ones at that, and it's called Gym for a Law. It's literally an outside dungeon. So we start clearing a path forward, ready for when everybody arrives, and I was getting a nice fat chunk of XP of just killing these, leveling up. And I wondered how much I would get for what's coming up. And that was a massacre of Gym for a Law. Most kill quests have you take down maybe 8 enemies, sometimes 10, which is kind of a lot. These quests want you to kill 20. And not just 20 trolls overall, 20 of each type. So in the caves you have the guards, which are protecting their egg, which I think has something to do with Hakar, and we have to collect a shackle key too from their keeper. This is to free the elder tusk that was about to be sacrificed atop of their troll temple. Each side has different kind of trolls, soul eaters, blood drinkers, hide skinners. I think it's 100 trolls that you have to kill. We just have to keep going around, taking them down one by one, waiting for respawns. I'd nearly farmed a whole level of XP just off these elite kills alone. And while the genocide of the trolls was kind of fun, we still had to collect these little pots of vessels of tainted blood. And we need 10 each. So that's 50 in total. That's a lot of things to do here. While doing this, we also collect the bones of fallen huntsmen, and our job is to take them back and put them to rest. After about an hour of questing at Gym for a Law, I headed back to the village to let everybody know of my deeds, and I got level 54.5. But I wanted to carry on for a bit. I didn't want to leave this beautiful zone just yet. The music was playing, the sun was shining, the atmosphere was just perfect, and I just went off questing happily. Turns out there's no natural predator to these saltwater snapjaws, they're becoming quite a pest. Just like the seagulls that wake me up every morning with their babies. God damn, they're so annoying. However, we can dispatch these a bit more efficiently. If we take down the shiny Pokemon Gamma Eater, it's blue and the Alpha, I think. I usually have some problems soloing this in the other versions of Classic, but my Destruction Warlock with my gear and the level advantage, plus the CC spam I can do, permanent fizz and death coils, I've become pretty much a powerful Warlock. I'm not quite a hero yet, but we are getting closer to the power I want. The next decision I make though, would honestly be one of the best I could, and I'm going to explain why. There was a group going for Dire Maul, which is a high level dungeon, and I asked if they had a spot, and they took me along. I wasn't sure how low of a level I was for this, but XP is XP and I'm all for getting gear upgrades. I had to run through the elite ogres that was smashing me with axes and I nearly fell just making it to the dungeon entrance. This place was a death trap, but me and my trusty firehorse managed to navigate our way through to the entrance of Dire Maul. There's 3 different dungeons. You've got north, east and west, with the entrance being, well, north, east and west of the courtyard. We're doing Dire Maul East first, and I see we've got a level 60 tank with world buffs, so I'm thinking to myself, why is he here? Maybe it's got some insane gear drops for him, but he could probably get gear easier in raids. They start the dungeon immediately while I pump up my imp with higher ranks of his spells to keep myself up to date, and it looks as if I'm just about the right level for this dungeon. The tank starts doing big pulls and I start hellfiring, and I'm doing pretty good damage, so I'm glad that I can at least contribute here. But I do the most dumbest thing I've done yet. While dying to hellfire, I press life tap, and well, I end up dead. I need to remember that all my spells as a lock do kind of hurt me, so let's just forget about that, Def, yeah? As we're killing a boss and making our way through kinda easily, it happens. I loot it and I get an item. A coin in my bags. The tarnished undermine reel. That's why the level 60s are here. These coins are completely forgot. You can purchase high level epic gear in Booty Bay with these, but it requires a lot of them. And with that in mind, I knew what I was going to do. I was going to go all around the world visiting every type of dungeon to get as many coins as I can. After clearing one side of Dire Maul, we moved on to the next. However, this is where I became a bit more of a hindrance on my group. Even though I have leveled up, the bosses and mobs were now orange and even red to me, meaning I don't get to hit them as much. But it seems as if my group didn't actually mind that, and there was a boss too in the corner of this room, Revan Shion, which I believe is only up during the Nax invasion. I think that's a really cool thing Blizzard did, was have extra bosses spawn in dungeons with extra gear. It's something I wish they did a little bit more often and expanded on. This guy though gave me 3 coins, but his epic he dropped was shit. So we flew through, taking out the prince here, and I need to understand the lore of Dire Maul a bit more. I don't know why night elves are here with ogres and such. Then I cleared the whole of Dire Maul North, where I could barely hit them with resist popping up a lot, but we took them all down and got quite a bit of them coins too. I also forgot I had auto loot on, so when they listed what was inside of the chest for people to roll on, I take a peek and end up just taking it all, and the tank says, "Yointa," and gives me a nice little dance on my head. And that was Dire Maul cleared right through. The next place I wanted to go to was one of the most iconic dungeons in the game, but in order to get there, I'd have to travel once more, which would have me taking the Zeppelin to the jungle, before heading north into the Alliance territory of Duskwood, the Dark Forest. I didn't expect to see too many Alliance on my travels, to be fair, although they are certainly starting to be more of them on the server, but I do come across the undead abomination, Stitches. I was like, I'll just kill him for fun and see if he drops anything useful, but he only drops a femur. And as I get near the town of Darkshire, I meet a horrible creature, one of the worst to ever exist in World of Warcraft, a Gnome mage. I hate these things with an absolute passion, and I roar at him and he just puts a question mark. And I tell him, come. He just sits down completely unfazed by me as I type fight me. I'm trying to figure out ways I can kill this little wretch. I shouldn't have killed Stitches because then maybe he would have killed the gnome. But then I've got a plan. I start a duel with him and he accepts. Sure, I can easily beat him, but I don't. He actually lands a sheep on me, so I sit there and just fear him for 15 seconds and watch him run around in panic around the pumpkin patch. Then I just win the duel without attacking him as he just stood there and flees, so I call him a chicken. Now I could just leave this little gnome, and in fact, I was going to as I spit on the ground and walk away. Then he laughs at me. I can't let this slide. He follows me into the town and I quickly get dismounted and attacked by all of the guards here. And look who is throwing ice lances at me too. And he lands one of the killing blows. Yes, the little gnome mage. I might be dead, but he has now turned his PvP on for 5 whole minutes. I see him running around carelessly. He's got no idea what's coming for him. I respawn and cast an immolate into a conflagrate as he blinks away, but he dies. This then leads to the Watchers attacking me again, killing me as well. But now he knows he's not safe. I see him running around, accepting his quests, and I can't get him in town. It's too dangerous. I gotta think of a new plan. So I walk around the sides trying to find an angle to attack him cleanly, but I just can't find it. He targets me and sees me running around on my fire horse, but he knows he's safe now. I've got to deal with a Night Watch guard attacking me, and I hope the little gnome had not disappeared just yet, but he hadn't. He was still there. So I dismissed my imp, and I set up my sleeping bag hoping he would come towards me not knowing it was me in here and I could ambush him off the road. So I sat here awaiting for a minute, then 2, and then I realised he's probably just waiting for his PvP to go off before he's going to leave the safety of his town. I had to act fast if I wanted to get him. I have demons, imps that will do my bidding. If he don't want to come out the town, I'll send them into town, and sending my imp is what I did. I watched as he struggled to 1v1 my imp. That's fireballs were just relentless on him. But just as he got to a sliver of health, his PvP turned off, my imp ran away, and he survived. Damn, I need a new strategy. So I waited in my bag once more. This time the curious gnome approached it, looking at me, waiting to see what would happen. Then I see the little shit laughing in the distance. Come closer, you little gremlin, I won't bite. He starts inching forward and forward, getting more brave, but he was just laughing at me. Random alliance members would pass with confusion thinking what the hell is going on, but this gnome mage wanted to keep taunting me. After all, why wouldn't he? I failed to kill him again. Then when I think he can't get any weirder, he starts dancing in my bag. Right, that's it, I've got a plan. The guards hit me, and if I can get myself low enough in front of him, he won't be able to resist the temptation to attack me again and try and kill me. So I start murdering the townsfolk, acting like I'm the one struggling. And then I actually do struggle and the guards get me. Damn, failed again. New strategy. I saw when I life tapped, he ran a bit closer and got a bit braver. So I made myself a health stone and then a hellfire until I was really low on health. Surely he can't resist this time. I keep taunting him over and over while I keep my health low. Then it happens. He starts casting polymorph on me and I resist it. He is now killable once more. He tries to quickly take me out of his spells, but I set him on fire and watch as my imp finally claims his soul. Then I begin to do what an undead does best and feast on his gnome corpse. The gnome had fell for my trap. He respawned thinking he can just run away back into town with a blink. Not now, mate. You got 5 minutes of my imp chasing you down. And this time, he won't stop. Abanik savagely pursues him, even into the inn where he thought he was safe, and I watch his fireballs get flung at him as he's running. Then I make sure I move around the town until I can re-pick him up back as a target and send Abanik off to do his duties once more. The gnome mage was not safe anywhere. Leave the town, I'm waiting. Hide in the town, my imp will come and get you and fireball you to death. I saw him run to the direction of the flight master. He was trying to escape. Not yet, little one. I just ran through the town chasing after Abanik as the guards killed him. Then they all came for me. I got off a big amplify curse of agony onto the gnome as I instantly died to the guards. But I did have a soul stone. I could come back to life, but I wanted to wait and see what would happen. The gnome mage sat down next to me as the curse was too strong for him and took his life as well. Now I could have left it here, but Orfi decided to taunt me once more. Resurrect right next to my corpse and eat his food. I then waited for the guards to leave, and I was waiting for the right time to strike. But he started to cast Teleport Stormwind. I quickly resurrect and cast an Immolate and curse him and do as much damage as I can, knowing death awaits me once more. But as death awaits me, it also awaits the gnome. With both of us dead once more, I decided to leave him be for now. He suffered a lot. I'd put him down, and I ate his small corpse. I had my pet chase him around the town. I was everything an undead warlock should be. So I took resurrection sickness and left the town of Darkshire and Orfi as I travelled forward. After riding on my steed for a long time north and entering the fiery zone of Searing Gorge, I found a party willing to take on the Blackrot Depths. The Dark Iron Dwarves reside here, and nothing beats walking into the gates and seeing the chains and the lava. This is how you know you're at the endgame when this happens. I also make sure to speak to Lothal's Riftwalker and pick up the quest achievement to the core. We need a fragment so we can enter the raid when we hit max level of 60, and we can do this in the dungeon too. We enter the dungeon and quests are shared, and I feel like I'm leveling these last 10 levels really quick, and it's just been such a joy so far. And what makes dungeons even better are shaman tanks, especially as this place is just swimming with dwarves, and big packs of them too. So we can all AoE them and farm out that juicy experience, and I can, of course, cast Hellfire and instantly die to the shaman's root totem. This has been the story of my warlock life. I also decided with being level 56 now to use an item I got from a quest chain for getting the sleeping bag, and that was these student fodders. I thought they were spammable, but turns out they're on a 30-minute cooldown. I can't believe I did not check this earlier. That ain't too good. However, these do give you 4 or so bars of rested experience, meaning you get 200 XP off a mob, not the standard 100. Which means in dungeons, I'm probably gonna fly. The downside of this dungeon is bosses and mobs are fire resistant, and as a fire warlock, I'm stuck with spamming shadow bolts for low damage. Which doesn't really do too much, but we're here for the coins. I need coins. We raided the Black Vault, taking down the golems and its warden protectors to collect the heart of the mountain, and we encountered monstrous ancient creatures roaming the halls. That gave me a wild offering which I remember had a purpose back when SOD first came out, but I'm not really sure now. Travelers' backpacks would drop 24/7, huge items for storage, but my luck on my luck was just down bad. After making our way through the Grim Guzzler, we took down Ribley and his cronies, as well as dealing with Hurley Blackbreath, who quite literally breathes frickin' fire. But they're all no match for us, and everything was going really well. Too well. As we're giving a dwarf some beer to start a bar brawl so we can move towards the end of the instance, the golem comes to life to stop us entering, and then what does Mr. Druid do? Well, he presses Starfall, hitting all of the friendly NPCs in the area. who turn unfriendly and start swarming us like ants, beating the living crap out of us. I tried to make a soulstone quick, but we are wiped quicker than I can even react. That is going to be a long corpse run back to the dungeon. A little while later, we approach the Imperial seat where the Emperor and the Queen awaits. My belt is red and broken with all of my armour yellow, so I really hope I don't die again or I'm pretty much screwed. Now we just need to battle through the army of dwarves standing in our way, the last line of the defence. It's just not too much for our group to handle, and we take down all of the dwarves before starting the fight. I always feel bad that we murder Princess Moira Bronzebeard because I think she's being kidnapped or she's brainwashed or something, but I could be wrong. She really doesn't last too long before Dagran gets a beatdown from us too. He does become immune to magic damage for a short while sometimes, so I just kind of have to sit there and watch and twiddle my thumbs. But with a final soulfire to his face, he falls, drops crap loot, but we got a lot of experience and a lot of coins for this place. It's well worth running every single time. There's no quick way out of here, so I decided to just run into all of the remaining dwarves, taunt them that I've killed their emperor, and let them kill me in return, giving me a nice quick teleport to the mountain. Although I do now have bright red armour, I turn in the achievement quest that I picked up, allowing me to now raid Molten Core at 60, and I've dinged level 57, so only 3 levels left before we reach that pinnacle of power. I have a faint memory of the daily quests here in the Searing Gorge, so I went to try and do them hoping for some fast levels. But what I didn't know is that the dailies are only available during the Blackrock Eruption event, which was a PvP event I think, which when I got there only had 2 minutes left, so that backfired on me. So I went back to coin farming. Now there was a spot for me if I tanked. Now if you've seen me level this Warlock so far, you would know I suck at tanking, and if you've not seen it, well, I suck at tanking. I mean, Warlock tanks look cool, but I'm not the right spec. I think it's more tailored towards a demonology build. And the dungeon I'm going to is pretty much a max level dungeon. Before I head into Blackrock Spire, I waited at a certain spot with my immolation aura up, and that is for a rare mob. Well, he's not that rare technically, as he seems to respawn every 5 minutes or so, and after fighting the whole entire server to try and get the tag, we eventually kill the Scarshield Quartermaster, and we get the quest Black Hand's Command, which is another achievement quest to get us into a different raid called the Blackwing Lair. And that's why I love about this level 50 to 60 stuff. You can just do dungeons, get coins that are going to reward you at max level, while also getting XP, getting gear, and making progress towards them endgame activities. It's just so fun. So we start the fight with the first few mobs in here, and I could tell I'm going to have a problem. We've got geared max levels, as well as geared questing people, and I had no idea how I was going to keep aggro and not wipe us, but I was going to try my best. On top of that, I'm not really sure of the route to lead us either, which makes me probably not the best tank for these guys, but we're starting off okay. Nobody's dying, I'm spamming Searing Pain, which does deal high threat, and although the AoE packs are a nuisance and we're always getting a tad bit low and running out of mana, we can do this. I believe we can. It just might not be as quick as the Shaman tank. I thought it might get easier, it's just getting harder, and all I did was cross a bloody bridge. A Warlock is also on the lower side of the levels, so as I cross this little bit of rock here, you'll see there's mobs just below me. I'm not really paying too much attention, and we continue on and start fighting the ogres. Then the mage says, "Downstairs pulled." Then I'm like, what do you mean? Maybe it's just 3 mobs or something. We should be okay. Oh shit. I stand and try and get aggro, but the mage, who is our healer by the way, is instantly killed. And I type, we should run. We start giving it legs, and I'm a bit slow, and they've got a spell that hexes you, so we all get absolutely wrecked. I can just see the Warlock and Rogue running for their dear lives, not wanting to get caught with an army of trolls chasing them. I do have a soulstone, so I can res myself, saving me a long corpse run at least. Lessons was learned, be way more careful next time. And if that means pulling an extra pack of mobs so we don't wipe, I'm gonna have to do it. Better to be safe. I'm sure nothing else is gonna go wrong. We managed to make it to the first boss though, through some sheer miracle, and we do take him down quite easily. Then you head back the way you came. I asked if we're supposed to jump down here where we pulled all of them mobs earlier, and it looks like we do that. So we jump down there, but the Warlock seems to be getting attacked by a mob pack. It's best he just dies there. However, he decides to jump down to us, and the mobs ain't going to leave him alone. Now that he's done that, I'm guessing that he's pulled the whole instant, so I type, on a scale of 1 to fucked, how fucked are we? And Mooshape says 10. And before we know it, the whole instance comes running around the corner and rams us one last time. Thankfully the druid has a soulstone this time, so we can get rezzed, but it's going to be one of them days, isn't it? We slowly made our way through the spire, into Hordmar City, taking on the Firebrand Orcs, and I also managed to get a sense of what I was doing, apart from sometimes our healer would just get randomly 2-tapped. I still hadn't figured that one out yet. We approach the spider's room next, where Mother Smolderweb awaits us, and she's you guessed it, mother of the crystal spiders that feed on the lost mobs in here. She dies and drops exactly what I want, the Smolderweb's Eye, a huge spell power trinket and a big upgrade for me. But it ain't just for me, everyone wants this. I instantly need it and hope I'm finally lucky, as we all wish each other luck, but it's just not meant to be, and I don't get the item. It does sting, but there's plenty more loot to come. We then survive an onslaught of ogres that are Urok's cronies, and then we take down the rare Urok Doomhowl. We kidnap a warg pup and take down the mother of the wargs, Halicon, so they can't be used by the orcs, before her mate Gizrel comes to avenge her. But we gotta deal with this guy too, but at least he drops coins. I encountered a rare quartermaster Zigris, who I'm pretty sure I've never seen before, and he dropped some incredibly rare particles of absolutely nothing. He dropped nothing. Before the caster mobs lead into the last boss's room, just elite me with arcane missiles like I'm just a mere inconvenience. I really do suck at tanking. After quite a while, however, we made it to the last boss room, the Chamber of Battle. Here lies the Overlord. I'm not even going to bother, okay I'll try. Overlord Wimfalak. Think I got that right. Clear the dungeon, collect a crap ton of coins, get a lot of experience, and overall, I did manage to tank it. However, I decided my tanking career ends here. I'm too bad at it, I'm too slow, and I don't understand how to do it on a Warlock, so it ain't fun. So back to Destro, I gotta go. We fight our way out at level 58, close to level 59, and so close to 60, and the endgame. I could taste it. I couldn't stop now. I leave Blackrock Mountain and prepare for that final push. As the event Blackrock Eruption was active, I decided to try and complete a quest or two to put me on that final level. But these Flamebringer stalkers hit really hard, and I was having a hard time taking them down alone, but I was managing. The worst thing was having no real ways to regenerate my health or mana. Yeah, I ran out of food and drinks as always. I never learn. I only needed one more kill, just one, and I had a peek around, but it doesn't look as if there's any vendors here that'll sell the things I need. So I tried to take down my last stalker, and I overestimated my abilities as I got absolutely murked. I waited for my health to then regenerate just a little bit more, and I tried again, utilising fears, but now there's more mobs joining in the fight, so I get teamed up on, and once again, I die. Now I'm getting to the point where I have to wait to resurrect, as the game is like, are you sure you're doing okay? Do you need a break? Because you're dying quite a lot quickly. I only wanted to complete one bloody quest, and this mob was being a pain in my arse. However, I did finally finish it and turned it in and hit level 59, and I was excited to finish the leveling. So I then went on a coin run doing every single dungeon I could for that last level. This had me going to a 10-man upper Blackrock Spire, where I once again am reminded of this god-awful War Chief Ren fight, where you kind of just stand around bored for 10 minutes. The last boss is the General, who does drop some pretty good loot. The Warlock robe, the Dread Mists, and an offhand that gives quite a bit of spell damage. That's gonna be useful if I get myself a one-hander. But the other reason I'm here is to click this blue orb. When I got the letter from killing that rare mob earlier, I deliver it here and I get attuned to Blackwing Lair. That was easy. I also win myself the book, and I win myself the Dread Mist robe, giving me a nice instant upgrade. I travel across Azeroth, where my group was being so patient for me, as we then headed to Stratholme, and this absolutely lovely guildie summoned me, saving me a lot of time on horseback. We flew through the living side of Stratholme, taking on all of the Scarlet Crusade here and gaining a massive amount of XP thanks to them student fodders. I'd just enough rested that helped push me through that last level, and I dinged level 60. No more experience needed for me. However, that doesn't mean this 0 to hero is over. We now have the full endgame to tackle. Once we kill Balthazar and loot ourselves some pretty nice shoulders in the Shroud of the Nathrazim, giving me valuable hit rating, we moved over to the Undead side, where Balsaphon awaits us. He's another special Scourge boss that drops really good Frost Mage gear, but only one item that would be useful for me, the necklace. And when he dies, he drops it, the Chains of the Lich. 3 people rolled, and I finally beat people and won myself an instant upgrade. That is a nice piece of loot for level 60. Towards the end, we approached the slaughterhouse, and I looted myself a nice little dapper cat too. Gear was flying in. We took down Baron Rivendare, hoping for the epic mount to drop, but I've not seen that in the classic version of the game just yet. So we're level 60 reached, 56 coins acquired from my level journey, dungeons mostly done for the day. I thought surely it's time to just go and raid straight away. And raiding is what I went to do. There were some rules in place, so we didn't just go straight to Naxxramas and Scarlet Enclave and clear everything within a week. It was spread out over a few weeks, so we could only do a few things right now, and that was the Phase 1 raids in Molten Core, Zul'Gurub and Blackwing Lair. So I headed off to my first 60 raid, Zul'Gurub. It It was pretty easy the last time I did this in Season of Discovery, but I wasn't sure how raiding would be now with a lot of new players and people that don't have the gear. I mean, some people are decked out in gear because we can't stop them coming like this Warlock was. Holy shit. We then nuke my graphics card with Force Lightning and begin our raid. Of course, there is a lot of loot spam from these coins and bijous, I think they're called, which I believe are for reputation, but I'm not 100% sure on that. We head straight to the last boss here, her car. And this is because in Season of Discovery, raids have hard modes. And killing this boss first is a hard mode. We stand in front of the big soul flare and the fight begins. We start off doing big damage. Well, I mean, the Boomkin and Rogue are literally doing an incredible amount, doubling everybody else's. I'm going to take it they're endgame geared. The hard mode basically has all the different lowers and creatures coming out and doing their effects. Tigers charging and swiping, leaving bleeds, bats silencing you, and corrupted blood which you spread. However, just due to the sheer amount of damage that's being put out, this boss died incredibly fast, which kind of made me feel like this raid is going to be a really quick one. Loot wise, just a 1-drop that I could use and I end up rolling a pretty shit 16 on it, but I'm getting more coins and that is the main thing. And I mean, I'm not even Warlock tanking and somehow I still managed to end up getting aggro of a boss and dying. No game, I will not go back to being a tank. After that boss died, he dropped a staff, Jindo's Judgment, which I was going to soft reserve, but I ended up going against that. It was very powerful and had a cool glowy yellow effect, and all I could do was roll when it was rolled out. I see the highest roll is 75, and I come in with an 80, and I win myself an epic staff so quick after dinging. That is a huge upgrade. 2% hit, 41 spell damage, what more can a lock ask for? When you kill the Panther Priestess, a Panther spawns, which you've got to interact with to get a buff that basically makes you go invisible completely. The leader says, take it, and we all do. And as we sneak out, you can mount up and be completely invisible so you can skip mobs and go from boss to boss, making this raid really quick. Then as we approach the next one, it seems some people didn't read or didn't know what to do because I see someone die in my raid frames, followed by many more people falling. So right, not everybody knows about the Panther buff, I guess. But people in the chat are calling for them to wake up as legit half of the raid died. And because of their shenanigans, every single mob in the raid comes up to us near the boss, causing us all to die, losing out on all the world buffs and giving us a pretty long cult's run back. When we get back, you can now speak to the Panther Gnome, who is at the start of the dungeon, and everyone proceeds to make sure they spam take the Panther buff at the entrance. Someone alt F4'd after that and quit, so we regrouped, rebuffed, and we fought the High Priest for Cal, by killing him and his disciples first. Then we take on the Troll turned Super Tiger next, and I was hoping I'd see that rare Swift Zulian Tiger, a very sought after mount. But no, not today. He did drop some insane boots I unfortunately don't win, although I do roll a very high roll, but I'm just really happy with my staff. Then for some reason, I watch a shaman, Frangipanos, the guy who wiped us the first time, pick up the Tiger buff. This is a bad idea, and as you can see, he comes out of stealth, pulls a hold of the tiger population and gets eaten alive. But once somebody's pulled, they hunt down even people in stealth and start killing us one by one, and me too, causing yet another long corpse run back. It's fine, everything's fine. We keep on moving through bosses into boss, just having some fun, getting loot, and of course wiping. But I did realise my damage sucks ass right now and I need some gear. Once Bloodlord Mandakur dies, I'm hoping that he drops his Swift Razashi Raptor, and I can see from the chat people are like, lol, no way, and it drops. The mount actually drops. If I could win this, that's going to save me a lot of gold, and it would be a huge item to have the rest of this 0 to hero. I love Raptors too. My luck has been rotten, and is this the time I finally get it? The Raptor is rolled out, and I wait and see the spam come in, and I roll a very low 25. And Frangipanos, the guy who has wiped us 3 times, wins the mount. I guess that's how the Blizzard gods work. I might start sacrificing my raid group a bit more, but no, I'm happy for him of course. With a staff drop, seeing the Raptor, then taking out the Spider boss and moving on to the Snake one, the High Priest Phenoxys, the Ring Guy soft reserve drop, the Zanzil's Band. It's a really powerful item and a massive upgrade, and me and 2 others have reserved it, so I wait and roll last as Frieke wins it with 68, so I lost the ring too. But it's alright, we move on. After what started as a very fast Zul'Gurub run turned into a bit of a demonic one, naturally our elemental shamans decided to go crazy and overpull all the bats, which haven't silenced, to once again causing most of us to perish when we're nearly done. But I don't expect anything less. In the end though, the bosses was a breeze, we got some loot, got plenty of coins, and we also saw that rare mount drop once more. But my luck, and what I was about to see, was going to get a bit crazier. I was in the mood to get geared, and I wasn't about to stop just yet. I had a browse on the group finder and saw loads of runs going, so I asked and got myself an invite practically instantly. God, it feels so good to be back. And then my add-on popped up, Loot Reserve, telling me to choose an item. And I think this add-on is even better than the website Soft Reserve, as you can do everything in-game. You just look for the item you want, you press reserve, and I go for the dagger that looks like Thunder Fury, because if I get that and combine it with a book, that's a lot of damage. I had to head all the way to Silithus next, right at the bottom of the zone, and I made my own way before getting to Tanarus, and I eventually got a summon. And we head to what I think is the SOD exclusive raid, the Crystal Vale, where the world boss awaits us. After we take down some Vale Tempest, we can spawn him in, Prince Thunderain, and you don't start the fight with him until you take down his 3 Storm Menders around him. So you gotta be careful not to pull him, but we accidentally do start the fight with an add-up. Now I'm not gonna lie to you, I have completely and utterly forgot some of these SOD bosses' mechanics. I'm just pumping damage out and doing really good numbers. I got so focused on my damage that I didn't see I was taking damage. Maybe I was stood in some sort of wind ability. I didn't get any heals, and I die. Yeah, flaw point of view for me once more, god damn it. So I ended up not getting battle resed, and I spent the whole fight watching. It feels like I got put in the naughty corner, and they were going to themselves, no point in resing him, he's a noob and died. The boss falls, drops absolutely nothing, but we do got ourselves more of them coins. After this, I went straight to Molten Core. I did not rest, I did not wait. I went full raid train mode. Get gear, get good. And this raid? Well, this raid was a special one. We've got all of our world buffs, and some people like Beno have the corrupted Ashbringer. And I mean, just look at all these shamans going to town on these boss fights with AoE. I even started to get a huge FPS dip. I wasn't sure why, so that's probably why I can see my FPS on the screen. I was trying to figure that one out. Each boss in here drops 3 coins each, which is massive. As well as dropping tier items and gear, it's a heaven for fresh 60s. The first 2 bosses in here were huge loot pinatas, and I see it drops a book offhand and tier legs. And this little warrior, Ghost Slippy, had turned me into a bloody goblin. I hate gnomes. Goblins are just about on my tolerance level. I don't hate them, I don't like them, they just exist. Cheers, Slippy. Then the offhand book is rolled out, and I wasn't going to roll as I had a feeling I had a huge roll banked, and I thought, might as well chance it, and I roll a huge 98. Yeah, what a waste. And it also wouldn't be a Molten Core without somebody falling into the lava somehow either, would it? Don't ask me how, but there's a guy just swimming. Well, we call it lava jumping. It's trying to avoid taking the ticking damage, but he is a mage healer and we keep him alive so us warlocks can summon him out. However, if you don't have a lock, you're pretty much burnt to death. We then went to Gar for some reason before going to Gehenna, and we're just blasting through the bosses. I didn't even bother looking at my damage right now, I was just here to participate. Gar fell and my luck had been nuts. I'd already seen a Razashi Raptor, and then of course the bindings of the Windseeker dropped too. Wow, that is a pretty lucky day. I can't use Thunder Fury, so it is nothing for me, but the guy with the Ashbringer reserved it. He's probably happy he came. Then it was off back to Gehenna. While I was trying to figure out why my PC was just dying on me in Molten Core after killing him, he dropped some tier boots. So I hit a roll, and I rolled a huge 84, and as the other guy that rolled is a rogue, they go straight to me, and that's a piece of tier already acquired. Baron Geddon unfortunately didn't drop the other binding, because that would have been insanely crazy to see. I don't know their drop chance, but I think it's low even on SOD. Then Shazra fell, and dropped the Warlock tier braces too, and I decided to go AFK for a few minutes to go and use the bathroom. So I wasn't sure what exactly happened, but when I came back, half the raid seemed to have got wiped out by some fire elementals, and somehow I managed to be one of the living ones left, but I also missed out on rolling on them braces. That was at 11:20. It's now 11:42, and we're at the second to last boss with half of the raid offline. The reason they're offline is because we're waiting for something called a Douse. You need it to summon the second to last boss in order to access the last boss, Ragnaros. Thankfully, people come on their ults and go and do the quest chains to do this. But we did have to wait around 20 minutes to half an hour summoning people throughout the world to hand in the quest to get the Douse, or to summon them back through the raid. But thankfully we got it done, and I see the boss spawning. So time that would hopefully be well spent. This boss is like a coliseum, I like to call it. You're in a circle of volcanoes where just loads of fighters are attacking each other. You don't really kill Major Domo, you kill the elites and healers around him. Once again, shamans just shine on these AoE fights with their flame shocks, but nothing was too difficult for us. And I forgot to show me where I also looted the tier chest piece too. It's right there in my bags, sorry about that. But when we kill him, the chest is looted, and from there everybody has to loot it to get their coins. But only one person at a time can. So you spend the next 10 minutes spam clicking on a chest to hope you can loot your free coins and moved on. Apparently I suck at this, as I was one of the last people to get into it, but I still need to get my coins. We arrive at Ragnaros' lair and we all get in position as Major Domo summons him. and Ragnaros kills him for waking him up too early. I know the feeling. And the fight against the Fire Lord begins. He actually does take fire damage, weirdly enough. I didn't expect him to, considering he is a Fire Lord, but he does, so I'll take that. He actually does do a fair bit of raid damage, even on the easier mode, but we only lose 1 or 2 people before we reach the second phase, where he decides to go for a swim under his lava and summon the Sons of Flames, which as Warlocks we banish so we can deal with them all without dying. We do lose a few people as well during this phase, but we're honestly in a really good spot. We spread out and just start nuking Ragnaros down, and we clear through Molten Core. And of course I'd bring that Warlock look again, because the Eye of Sulphurus drops. So you can now make the legendary weapon too. Holy moly, Raptor, Binding, and an Eye of Sulphurus all in the space of a few hours. 1 reset, 1 video. God damn. I don't win any more loot, but I do go over to Duke Hydraxis and exchange my tier chest for the Fell Heart robes. And then the Fell Heart slippers too, giving me nice upgrades. The reason I've done all this for coins is because I've looted now 100 of them, so I just need to spend them. I headed back to Ogrimmar and then went all the way to Booty Bay. Here I take the quest, show me the money, give the goblin one of my hard-earned coins, and now I can purchase items, epic rings, materials, you name it. But the main thing I wanted was the tier 1 pieces. They are quite pricey, but I can buy myself the shoulder pads. Then when I go to the last page, I see the depleted Cypher Chaos for 150 coins. It's an epic quest chain exclusive to Season of Discovery that I have to get. So I sat there thinking, what do I do right now? Do I spend it all on armor for the massive upgrades? Or save it up for the weapon, because getting another 150 coins is going to be a grind. So I make the choice, at least for now, to just buy as much tier items as I can. So I get the belt, the bracers, the gloves and the helmet. 5 pieces of tier items, and I've already got 2 from the raid. But in order to get these items, I had to go all the way back to Molten Core, which took me ages to travel there, find a lovely person that makes a raid with me, run all the way through the raid back to the Duke and trade them all for my items for tier 1 pieces. And when I equipped them all, I went from looking like a noob to looking like an absolute pro Warlock. I'm just missing the leg pieces. But damn, I got geared fast. Still not fully done, and I've still got a lot to do in Season of Discovery. But this was the best part about leveling and the best thing about SOD, the end game. Next, I'm going to kill the last boss in the Scarlet Enclave and make sure I'm alive for it and finish off Season of Discovery one last time. So like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.